Hey you guys, this is Dr. Cade and I'm sitting here with Coach Cason, and obviously our heart goes out to everybody in Southwest Florida. We feel very blessed that we went through the storm relatively unscathed, and obviously we want to do everything we can to give back to the community that's given us so much. So if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Our door is open, and I'm saying that pretty vaguely. If you need help, come on in and we'll do everything we can to help you, support you. We're going to be taking some donations. We're going to be giving out quite a bit of free care this month, and so if you need help, if you're struggling, if you're in pain, you're just stressed out, both of us are going to make ourselves available. So our phone number is 239-774-5433. But what I wanted to do really quick was talk a little bit about mold. We were working this weekend at Grandpa's house, trying to take out about 2 feet of drywall, and there's a lot of moisture, there's a lot of concerns with mold, and pretty much everybody on that street was talking about the same thing. So just wanted to give you a couple different tips here on how to minimize the potential damage, both short term and long term, that of course mold can deliver. Or the risk there. So before I jump into some of the things to do, I think the only thing that can make mold worse is if you stress out about it. So why don't you talk about that really quick, Cason?
Yeah, well, we had a patient call who was exposed to some mold, or what he thought was mold, and the first thing he said is, when I saw it, I felt it in my stomach. I got fearful, I was scared, and obviously that's going to be a reaction. I mean, I would do the same if I saw mold, like, oh no, what's this going to do to me? But if we can catch that and minimize that, or catch ourselves going down that worst case scenario rabbit hole, and stop that, or even play out, like, what is the worst possible case scenario that could happen to me? Look at it, check it out, analyze it, try not to get too emotional with it so that you know what's going to happen, right? And then make the best decision that you can based on that worst possible case, so that you're prepared, that you know what to do, and that you don't freak out, because worrying is only going to make it worse. We know that. So these tips and tools and supplements that we have here are going to help, right? But the worry is not. So catching that, minimizing that, using your techniques, using prayer, meditation, all that stuff, to minimize the second-hand worseness or trouble of it. So why don't we go through these so that we can give you some practical tools.
What Cason is saying is it's a real thing, and you can think about that with food and with diet. The only thing that's going to make a bad food choice worse is if you're stressing out about it. And so it's the same thing here. So obviously the first step is to minimize your exposure to new mold. So if you're going into a place that you anticipate that it's going to be, or that, it may just be smart about it and do what you can to protect your respiratory airways and wear a mask. That's obviously number one. Number two, when you do see mold, get some colloidal silver. Colloidal silvers, we have some here. We have some nice stuff that's usually, meant to be used on the body. But if you can get your hands on some colloidal silver, it's and spray whatever mold you can see, that's going to do a lot to minimize the growth, the expanse of it, and actually kill those spores. So colloidal silver is a fantastic tool, and we absolutely recommend using that on the mold. And then as far as supporting your system, our body has a liver, right? Our body has white blood cells. So our body is meant to take care of things on its own and to kill things, right? But when we exceed our body's ability to do that, that's where it gets dangerous. So right now, we don't know what that's going to look like for a lot of you, how bad that exposure is, how bad that mold, how long it's been around for. But whatever you can do in these steps that I'm going to give you is going to help your body overcome it the best it can. So increase your hydration, and we don't just mean the quality of the water, but and the quantity, but put some pink salt in there. I think that's really important. We've got electrolyte packages that we support here. It's called Element. It's fantastic. It's some of the best stuff that's out there. There's salt in there, there's magnesium, there's potassium. It's a perfect balance to give your body at a cellular level the right hydration, the right mineral level to adapt and deal with stress. Not just the chemical stress that we're being exposed to, but the mental stress that you talked about too. Right. Liver support is absolutely huge, and there's a lot of different things that you can do for liver support. Glutathione is one of them. There's a couple companies out there that make a liposomal version that you can get into your system pretty quick. That's a huge way if you want to go for glutathione. If you're dealing with mold exposure with your kids, there's a company called Patch MD. that makes glutathione patches, so you don't have to worry about the flavor or them swallowing a capsule or anything like that. You can put it right on their skin. It's going to get into their blood supply. N-acetylcysteine, NAC, is another great one. That helps the body produce more of its own glutathione, which I think is always smarter actually than taking glutathione on its own. But NAC is great. And then other liver support. So, herbal versions. There's a brand, Gaia, that makes some great herbal and plant-based liver support. Or you can just start eating or taking liver capsules. That's another great way to support your liver. A full an activated B complex is another great thing to do. That stuff is fantastic at supporting your liver and obviously mitochondrial health as well. Other things that I have on here, vitamin C is always going to be a good idea to support your immune system. Magnesium glycinate is probably going to be one of the best things that you can do right now. CBD to support that stress response. And then the last thing, and probably one of the most important things other than the liver support, is going to be taking a binder to minimize the spread. So zeolite is going to be the thing to shoot for there, zeolite. And that's spelled Z-E-O-L-I-T-E. We have some here at the office, but you can also get some on Amazon or at a local health food store. If you're ever worried about what brand to take, you can always send us a link and we'll give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But those are really the biggest things that we can say for mold support, helping your body overcome this. Of course, you can jump into testing, you can jump into remediation. There's so much more to the conversation, but we wanted to make sure that we were giving you something fast with the concerns that we're dealing with right away this morning on Monday. So again, if you need anything, I'm Dr. Cade. This is Coach Cason. Don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to talk and support you.
One more thing, Dr. Cade, that just came to mind when you were talking about that is the sun.
Yeah.
Obviously you're going to be, or if you're exposed or dealing with the mold, taking it out, you're going to be in the house. Get outside, take breaks, get into the sun, breathe fresh air.
Amen to that.
That certainly can help. So yeah.
Just to compound on that too, walking, moving, letting your heels hit the ground, that's going to increase your lymphatic flow, which is another system that the body has to deal with these kind of exposures. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But many blessings to all of you watching, and best of luck.